Well, hello my friends. Welcome back to my shop. This is Alfredo, the Rebel Turner. Today's turning is going to be fairly straightforward, medium in how rough it might be for beginner. I wouldn't say that it's a beginner's turning, but intermediate. What I have is a piece of eucalyptus, and the eucalyptus, this particular piece, has some nice pattern going around. Irregular, somewhat round, but irregular. And when I get pieces like this, I do get excited. Not only because of its irregularity, but the fact that it has this spalting going from the middle, and this will show up on the outside. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a natural edge end grain eucalyptus bowl. Now, I considered this side, but I did not do this side because I know what would have happened. This would have come way down in here by the time I would have gotten that, and it would have been only one-sided. So therefore, I selected the more uniformed side. Uniform in a sense that it's somewhat cylinder, circular, but still has enough to do all little jags on the top. I drilled it somewhat center. I didn't use a gauge to find out the center. I drilled it where I think it's going to pose the best design as far as these wings. This area will be fairly tall, this one, and this one. So I got 3 little higher wings and a lot of little jags in between. But like I said, I drilled it for my spur drive, for my worm screw. Let's get started. And this should be a fairly straightforward turning. So anyway, I got my spur drive already mounted inside of my chuck, and I'm ready to mount this up. Now, when you have a piece of wood that is fairly solid, or solid anyway, the spur drive is a nice system to hold up your work. And this particular case, I got a little bit of spalting on that area, but that spalting is actually fairly solid. It's not a very loose piece of wood, so it should hold up. And what I'm doing here is I'm assisting with the tailstock on driving it in. So I give it a couple of cranks, give this a couple of cranks, and therefore it's applying pressure and not stripping out on me. Once you get a good grip, then you can go the rest of the way. Now you'll see that it's forming a nice tight fit between the chuck and the base. Don't over tighten, but give it a good, solid, snug fit. Now if I keep tightening this, I will strip that out. So seeing that the case is that I have the spalting in here, so seeing that I have the spalting in here and that's a little bit softer of the wood, my concentration is going to be fairly quick to start shaping this up a little bit and create a tenon over here. The tool rest is fairly close to my material. This is the part that sticks out to the furthest, and I'm very close to that. So I'm gonna go with that right there and start roughing this up. Speed on this, I'm gonna start this up at around 500 RPM and see how that does. Okay, a little shaky, but it's well held, 600 RPM. Because I'm trying to get this over with and it's slipping on that that spur drive, I'm sorry, worm screw, because of the spalting, I'm going to create the tenon a little bit quicker than I normally do. Even though that's one of my first things that I do. Generally, I like to get somewhat of a shape of where I'm going with it, but in this case, I'm just going to go in here, make a tenon. The tenon the tool that I use for the tenon is usually this diamond-shaped tool. And the reason why I do that is because this is less than 90 degrees, or it's more acute than 90 degrees. So therefore, it gives me the right size dovetail for my my chuck. So. And you know, people ask me what tool do I use quite a bit, and I get taken a little bit when people ask me that question, because you know me, if you know me and have been following me, you know that I'm not set on a specific tool. I use whatever I got. And joking around the other day on Facebook, because of people forcing themselves to use tools that they're not familiar with. And I have nothing against that. I mean, you know, by all means, practice, practice, practice until you get good enough with whatever tool you like as your favorite. But some reason people think that if they start using the skew, all of a sudden they've graduated to a different level of woodturn. You know something? I have I have 3 skews, and it's not my strength. It's not a tool that I custom myself to. When I started learning how to turn, I turned almost exclusively with this gouge. I mean, it might be an old Craftsman. Steel was pretty good, and I wore this down quite a bit. And it's not a heavy-duty tool, but it's a tool that once I found my edge that I liked using, I used it almost exclusively to do everything. Got out of this one because I was doing a lot of bases and there was no way for me to reach deep in. So, first tool that I bought that is somewhat maybe professional but not at the high-end cost was the Hurricane. I bought a set of 3 gouges, 5/8, 3/8, and 1/4 inch, I think, spindle gouge. I bought this set for around $100, and you know something? It's okay, but I've worn this one down quite a bit already. This thing probably was another 4 inches longer than this, and been using it for a while, but it's wearing down. So my tools, it's not a specific brand. I bought this Hurricane because the price was very reasonable. Now I hear that Thompson Tools makes the equivalent but a better steel, probably will last you a little bit longer if you want to go that route. But in my opinion, you turn with whatever you got, and once it wears down, well, you know, you move on, or you buy something that's gonna last. And I make a lot of tools, so if you are a carbide turner, more of a scraper type person, then make your own carbide tips. I mean carbide tools, and buy just the inserts, and they last a long time. So anyway, this is my way of looking at things, is don't force yourself to use something that you're not, or you don't feel comfortable with. Turn with whatever you feel comfortable with. And that's the bottom line. This, I've only sharpened this once or twice. There are certain tools that you probably not do much sharpening. I don't do much sharpening on my scrapers, which the scraper I use is a Harbor Freight kit. But for what I do with it, it's a fine tool. It will last me forever. I will never outgrow it, unless subconsciously I don't like it because it's a cheaper tool. And I don't think that's going to happen, because I will use that until there's no more steel left. And I got the full thing. I've only sharpened it a few times, and it does a great job. The only thing I did is I reshaped it to what I thought would be the best for me. And here's the shape that I put into my scraper. It's a Harbor Freight, nothing special. And basically I just did a long radius on this side and a little sharp on this, and that way I can use it in different points and get to somewhat inside position. Okay, this is definitely not an area. I knew it was there, but I was pretty sure that I could avoid it. So if I can come up higher here without removing this, which means that I would have to really sink this down in this concave area, I might be able to get to that, but I don't think so. Because the parallel line that I would need to get to, and this is fairly true, so it's not like I got any extra here, I might not be able to get away with that. But I can use this area, this shape that's going through here, and omit this completely and have this as part of the edging design that the bowl wants to create. And seeing that that's the case and this isolated just to this area over here, that's the area that I'm more inclined to go into, is having this part right here, this L shape, be part of the finished piece and not anything above that. None of this flyaway. So it's time to go in here and start working it up and see how thin I'm going to come up into this edge all the way through, and see what's going to happen here. Get this to fly away. So it's time to come from the front and start working it without the live center. And start working it from outside going in towards the middle. Now this is end grain cutting. Now, when somebody says end grain, well, it is end grain, but it's only end grain while I'm going in into the very base of this and trying to push in. When I'm coming out here, it's nothing different than when I was doing the outside. It becomes like spindle turning. So whether if I go from outside over here or make a hole and come from inside out, it is no longer end grain cuts. It's just regular cut going in, because you are just cutting the fibers from the long end and not digging directly into it. So all the fibers are sticking straight out this way. Well, when I'm coming up on the outside, I'm cutting the fibers on the side and not from the end. Hope that makes sense. Okay, but because I'm always finding this area right here, which is end grain, because I'm trying to dig straight in, well, I might as well go with my Forstner bit in there and hollow out as much as I can on the inside. Go. Now this is where the fun starts coming in, because I can go in there, be a little bit more aggressive, and start really cleaning up some of this stuff really quick, and come out on this end when I get to there as a shear scraping, and I'll probably do one more last push cut on this piece. But you can see that piece that I was concerned with about not being able to keep. So all this will flake away, and this will stay as part of the edging. When I'm doing the sanding, I'll shape that up a little bit to imitate the rest of what's going on here. Now also, I mentioned how I had a couple of check marks on here, and they go a little deeper than I wanted them to, but that will not deter any anything from the appearance of this piece. Sawdust, same sawdust I'm using. It's fairly smooth, fairly fine on what I got at hand because I've been doing end cutting. And end cutting you don't get long flakes. You get this fine stuff. But that should be in deep enough to fill in that piece right here. If there was anything I did not like about this area right here, I could literally fill it up as well, like that, which I will do. And that way I can shape that. And it will be more in tune with the rest of the piece. So build it up and press it in. So by doing that, that piece that was missing over there, or that void that was not natural, I think will end up looking pretty good. And I do that quite a bit. You'll see that I use CA glue, and I will make up only in the case where I feel that it's an enhancement. And you might not think so, and that's quite okay. I mean, that's the beauty of us having different opinions about different things. Okay, time to go in here and start shaping this up, pull some of this out from inside as well. But I'm going to clean up this area right here that I just created. don't forget, keep looking at what's happening to your piece. Now, I am looking at this and deciding whether if I really do want to come out all the way from out here, in here, or maintain this somewhat of a different step in here and making it a little bit of a vessel. Well, I can do that, but definitely not with just this slip showing up. So I'm liking this, but not liking what's happening here. So here and here, I am too close to this edge, to the edge, the natural edge, to be able to do that. But if I come down a little bit deeper, I still got enough wood here that I can make that decision whether if I want to keep this type of a design or take it all the way out. And that's a decision I will make on the fly as I see things happening. So I'm going to go, stop doing from inside, go out here, see how much deeper I can go in this area, bring this up to the same thickness all the way down, and then decide what to do with it. Okay, I can see now that's already starting to look a little bit better. The thickness on these is good. Probably just a little bit more shaving here. And I literally could still go in a little bit deeper. I want enough pronunciation between here. Not necessarily here because this part goes all the way down. And I don't think I can catch that far enough. Now this void over here, that was that branch area that apparently came all the way through, and it gives me this void, and I'm not crazy about that void. So again, decide on what you want to do, what's offensive or not offensive. Now if I can go deeper in here, I can probably avoid that. So again, still playing with that idea. I'm going to continue going with that design until I have nothing that I cannot change. Well, I think I like that. So it's a matter of this void. I'm not so sure about it, but I think I can live with that. And of course, gotta clean up these cuts. Also, while cutting stuff like this that's really dry and I'm applying a lot of pressure, the chips that come out of this get pretty hot. So that means your tool also gets hot and you wear down your tip a little bit quicker. So it's time I give it a little bit of a sharp edge so I can do a shear scraping cut in here, clean up these tool marks and tear off that's going on this edge, and then do my final cutting, clean this up, and do somewhat of an edging here. Okay, back. Okay, I'm back, and that should do for the rest of this project. This I will get it off with the sandpaper. This becomes flexy, a little flexible once you get out here. So especially if you're running at that speed. Well, I'm going to take my scraper and go in here, but not with the tool rest that far away from the work. Bring it in as close as you can. Bring it up close to center. When you're working with a scraper, you want to be just center or just a little bit above center and tilt your tool slightly. So I got a little bit of this void that's still in here, but that's not going to bother. It's time to go in here and start sanding this up with 80 grit. Now here's the wood coming to life. Okay, so I'm back and I'm ready to flip this piece over. You guys probably gonna ask or wonder if there's any other method that I can use to do this. And there's a lot of options you can do. But why make it harder? I believe I'm going with the simplest possible way of doing things. And to me, it doesn't get much simpler than this. Alright, there's a drawback. I can't get that full finish because I am in between centers still, but I am definitely not going to worry too much about that. It gives me a center, easy enough for me to send out the nub that gets left behind. And that's all it is. It's a little nub. And for this, I'll use my little spindle gouge. And you can see that it always comes true when you do it this method. Nice and easy in there, not interfere with the outside. Just do it from there on towards the life center. And that's all. I got a good size nub there, but it's easy to remove. Where if I put my Jacob's chuck in the life center, in the drive side, and work it, or I bring it up to my drill press, which I do have one, so I can use that. But if you don't have one, you can always mount this up in your chuck and screw it up. You can even buff it up in here. But I'm just going to sand it up and give it a finish. Take a piece of paper towel, fold it up in a couple of spots, big enough to be on the bottom of your disc, and apply your finish to it. And I'm just going to do the OB shine juice on this as well. Apply it. Put your paper towel underneath the Dremel, your sandpaper, and not too much pressure at first. Very little. And then press it in. That's it. Wipe it all down. Once you have it all wiped down, then proudly display it. It's your work. So here it is. natural edge piece of eucalyptus. But with pieces like this that already had checking going on, that have a little hole in there, that I made up a little piece to make up for the missing piece of wood that was there. And I end up with little imperfections like this. It is all part of this character of this piece, on what makes this piece what it is. Plain and simple. Well, guys, I know I ramble way too much, and I know some of you say keep on rambling, but not everybody agrees with those of you that say that, unfortunately, because it's hard to keep my trap shut. So I'll leave it at that and say farewell till next time. Take care.